Hello indie game fan, an amazing week of indie games begins with Supplice, a throwback first-person shooter that looks like all action all the time. This is a tribute to the games of the mid-90s and the Doom modding community in particular, where there are plenty of weapons, explosions, blood and gore, where you have to battle biomechanical terrors in the far corners of the universe, but do note that it will be an early access release comprising of just episode 1 out of 6.
What is art? A beautiful painting. Things that evoke emotion.
MS Paint's story mode is back with Passpartout 2 The Lost Artist, the sequel to a unique indie game that looks to be bigger and better.
Perhaps art is an empty canvas. Its endless possibilities and the potential to make something entirely unique.
Hey, if you made it this far, subscribe to my weekly newsletter to keep on top of all things indie games, link in the description below.
Need a boost? Then come on in. Your next adventure will soon begin. Be the hero you wish to be. Our mixtures will set you free.
Full disclosure, the Magical Mixture Mill was a sponsor on this channel, but this action-adventure factory builder looks promising, with the jaunty theme of this trailer certainly adding to the appeal.
Get your fill at the Magical Mixture Mill.
I'm not quite sure if Brinefall will make it to release, not least of which because it comes to us from developer Quirty Studio, which seems like a made-up name, but also because it looks like a rather ambitious entry. It's an open-world sandbox builder combined with an action RPG, where you can build and expand your own home base while also venturing out into the world to explore. The classless system for your character leads to open-ended progression, where exploration also involves a ship, so that you can venture further, and is somehow not an early access release as well, so it certainly is a curiosity. We also have the 1.0 release of Lone Fungus, the mushroom Metroidvania that would have spent slightly more than a year in early access, where impressions so far have been positive, so if you have been waiting to play, this is the time to get it. It is more precision platforming focused with plenty of spikes and hazards, where you can also see the clear Hollow Knight influence here. There's a spell system and even emblems which alter your attacks, where your customizable combat build is one of the draws, not to mention a good overall look as well.
Dax, that body we just found. When I saw it, it felt like that was still me in there.
Your DNA scans show that you're a military clone pilot. No wonder you bettered my predecessor. What if I broadcast your profile?
You may not like who will come looking for me.
Bigger games of interest begins with the 1.0 release of EVERSPACE 2, an epic space combat simulator with RPG elements that is the follow-up to a great game where this releases out of early access and is a good time to jump in.
One big easy job. Be my ticket out of here, and yours too.
Your authority, your treaties, your lies, and your filthy presence have no place here.
They call themselves Okar Prime. Any opportunity to trigger a new war would suit their purposes perfectly.
It is time to be clear about your allegiances. We can leave you in peace, or I can put you and your companions on a high-priority eliminate list. Which will it be?
You don't understand what's at stake.
So, are you in?
I'm still trying to figure you out, Adam. It's clear you're running from something.
I can't help what I am.
All I cared about to start with was getting out of the DMZ.
There's no going back now.
Things are looking up, Hive. I think I see light at the end of the tunnel.
We also have the release of Meet Your Maker, a first-person shooter crossed with a base builder, where you can customize your fortress with devious traps and enemies, to deter invaders, where it impressed in early previews and most interestingly, is not an all-action shooter, but rather has more puzzle elements with the limited ammo that you must retrieve, where it is free on PlayStation Plus as well, so if you have that, no harm checking it out. Smaller games begin with Dice Kingdoms, a turn-based title that has some board game influence, where the resources that you get per turn depends on your dice rolls, looking pretty quaint and interesting.
Alright, you bunch of schmucks. I got a jobs for you. Get me my money, you filthy animals.
A game that looks like chaos is Filthy Animals Heist Simulator, a local multiplayer title that mixes payday with gang beasts, where you're attempting to pull off crazy capers and looks like fun with friends.
Did you just, eat a pigeon? What kind of filthy animal are you? Keep going till you get to the vault. Nice, good job.
Full Metal Sergeant is a management sim where you're attempting to whip some fresh recruits into shape, where I'm not too sure what the end goal is here in terms of whether there will be a larger campaign or missions. A wonderful looking Game Boy style adventure game is Melon Journey Bittersweet Memories, set in a town where melons are illegal, and the developer hints at something more sinister going on, although I don't think this is a horror game by any stretch. NecroCity is a real-time city builder defense game where you play as the undead, having to defend yourself against the so-called good guys, when I love it when games invert the traditional good versus evil concept. Another impressive looking survival city builder is Oxygen, set in the post-apocalypse where clean air is critical, although this wouldn't be my first choice for a title for this game.
ever wonder about what's on the other side of the border? All those stories about kids risking their lives, hitting the open road to reach freedom. You and I, we could do that, see? We could cross the border, leave everything behind.
Road 96 Mile Zero is the prequel to a roguelite narrative game from 2021 which is excellent, but this gives you additional context on the main character. Another awesome city builder is TerraScape, looking absolutely wonderful and chill, being similar to Documentic. Undeadly is another zombie survival title, but don't click off just yet, since it mixes turn-based tactical combat with survival and scavenging elements and could be interesting. Now, I'm a little mixed with this game since World basically took Dome Keeper and flipped it 90 degrees, so I don't know about this, but hopefully they have their own spin on the formula. The top 5 begins with Song of the Prairie, a farm simulation RPG that looks fairly by the numbers, but does have a fantasy element with wondrous creatures and giant crops, and as a bonus, it looks fantastic as well. The expected farming, fishing, building and dating elements are there, although the mining and combat seems to be absent, which is different from the other games in this genre in modern times. It is, however, an early access release with content covering the first full year and could end up being something special. We also have the release of the long-in-development Curse of the Sea Rats, which had a massively successful Kickstarter campaign, being a self-styled Retroidvania, where our main characters have been cursed by a sea witch and transformed into rats, now having to fight their way back to her to break the curse.
These are the rats I told you about.
Enough of this chatter!
Batten down the hatches! Let the cannon sound!
The old-school Disney-style animations are awesome, with 4 characters to choose from and even multiplayer support, so it looks fairly impressive.
Higher! This is not possible! Look at how they've massacred my boy!
Another promising release for the week is The Library of Babel, a stealth platformer with a gorgeous art style which is pretty unique in terms of the indie landscape. You play as a detective sent to investigate a murder but are unwillingly trapped in the titular location after an unexpected lockdown, now having to sneak your way around, find key items and to uncover the secrets of the city. Firstly, stealth games are pretty rare these days, even more so as a platformer instead of a first-person game, so I'm curious as to how this game will feel to play. It is not just the city, but includes environments such as jungles, temples and more, being a curious mix that is worth keeping an eye on. One of the games that I previewed for April is Spiritfall, a roguelike platformer that looks awesome, where its unique hook is that the combat is inspired by platform fighters like Smash Brothers, which is different from other games in this genre. The art and animation is awesome, with a compelling meta progression system that allows you to advance from run to run. This has shown promise during events like the Steam Next Festival, but do note that, like most roguelites, this is an early access release which is planned for 4 to 8 months. Similarly, this is another game which I've been excited about since its review, coming to us from the developer of Curse of the Dead Gods, which is basically all you need to know about this, but the quality of that game makes this of interest, but where the playable characters in Raven's Watch are based on folktales and fables, where a special mention goes to patron member and indie game ultra fan Sean H, and you can watch this video for the best top-down roguelites right now.